causing KT Rolster to actually lose their previous match. He's 1-2 in Pro League right now. He's not yet played against a Zerg. The choice to use him as the ace match was a little bit shocking, I feel, to most, myself included, and I think it was a bad choice. We'll see how well he does today. In retrospect, I think that the matches that we saw from him were a little bit rough, his opponents, but today is a new day.
Today is definitely a new day. He is up against a new player. This is Solar, so far doing really well in Pro League. He was actually in the ace match before. He did win 2 of those games. He did win his game from that match as well, and then was picked for the ace match. And he is one of these B-teamers out of the Samsung Galaxy Con.
Yeah, he won against SOS, if I'm not mistaken, twice.
Yeah, that was SOS.
He won 1 game by defense and 1 game by aggression. We'll see how well he does here in his 3rd Zerg vs. Protoss against a completely new opponent here. Zest is a player who's solid. He did not play well in his previous match. He lost both of his games, but he's still a solid player. We're really looking forward to seeing if he can take this player on. Right now, the map is loaded. It's Bel'Shir-Vestige. And we're going to see in just a moment yet another Protoss versus Zerg, a matchup we've seen so much of in this tournament. Let's go right into it.
LTA는 SK텔레콤.
Over here in the top left, we have the red Protoss representing KT Rolster. This is Zest.
Zest up against the Samsung Galaxy Con player to the bottom right. In blue, it's Solar. Really impressive play coming out of him so far this season. A player that's not very well known, I feel, especially in the foreign scene, but somebody who you should definitely take very seriously. And with his results so far against a great SOS, it stands to reason that he's got a good chance of winning this one as well.
We're seeing a bunch of these Zergs come out of the woodwork. Gil, another one of these guys that you have to watch, that are just really playing really, really strongly. And I would not be surprised if he takes this against Zest. Zest so far not looking at his best, not to rhyme on you, but he is just... I would like to see better games out of him, especially, this is his first game against Zerg. We're going to have to see how this goes for him. Maybe he can turn it around.
It's like Solar's accomplishments, including an M-House Cup. That's the kind of background that this guy has. Just to further highlight how he's kind of a little bit of an unknown, being able to beat such a great player like SOS.
Basically, his biggest achievement so far is beating SOS twice.
Yeah, and SOS is actually like a little bit off this season so far.
Yeah, he even looks off, in person. I don't know what it is, but there's just something off about him. I hope he gets back into shape.
Yeah, that's one of those things where, like, when you beat SOS, it's a great accomplishment, but then if SOS just totally flops for the rest of the season, then when we talk about SOS, you go, well, who hasn't beaten SOS this season? We'll see how that one plays out. A little bit of faking going on here by Zest. We've seen him do this before, just come down and try to trick his opponent into bringing down additional drones. This isn't like the sulky defense, but it's still a solid defense that we see here from Solar, not taking any chances.
Yeah, Biel also doing crazy good fake cannon defense.
Yeah, like a robot.
He has basically the drones in the only 2 positions he needs them. He doesn't move them. He's just prepared for anything. At all times. You see a Nexus go down after that gateway and gas. So a nice gateway expand out of Zest. Hatchery first out of Solar.
1 probe in gas, interestingly enough. I guess to rush the core out a little bit faster. So gate Nexus core then starts to minus double gas. It will, of course, once the second gas finishes. Fast 3rd hatchery goes down here as well for Solar right now.
And what do you think, what kind of game do you think Solar is going to play against Zest? I mean, this is a map that's pretty strong for Protoss. They are able to get that 3rd base up, which is always scary. What do you think is going through Solar's mind right now?
I think what's going through his mind right now is, I know how to play late game Zerg versus Protoss. I can deal with that if I get there. His mind is probably the similar mindset of the players we've been seeing doing so well in the late game, like Bjol, for example, in recent days, like Sulky. I think it's the mindset of, okay, the end composition where I have swarm hosts, corruptors, potentially broodlords, and infestors is where I want to go. It's all about how do I get there? What is he doing to me, and how do I stop it so that I can get to that place where I want to be as a Zerg player with creep all over the map, 50 spore crawlers, and I'm just looking at the Protoss and saying, I cannot lose. I just cannot lose this game. It's impossible for me to lose, like we saw last game. That's where a Zerg player wants to be, and this is what we've already seen from Solar in the past as being quite capable of doing. I don't think we're going to see a timing from him. He already showed us one speedling all-in that he was successful with. Hello, fan. Don't hide. Don't be shy.
She did not look happy about that one, actually. Most of them are just embarrassed, but she was just like, oh man, I can't believe this is happening again to me.
Sitting in the back, just chilling out, watching the games. Doesn't want to put on camera.
She thought she could hide. She was wrong. The cameramen here are very good.
They are.
They find all the embarrassed girls in the whole place. Don't worry.
The Overlord coverage here is quite sparse. The Phoenixes are coming out trying to find any Overlords they can. With the early scout on the Stargate, he knows to pull back with those Overlords, try to protect them if he can. And the first Overlord is spotted. Sorry, Fred.
Fred?
That's Fred. Sorry, Fred.
I'm sorry you knew him on such a personal level and he's going down here.
He's helped me out a few times, but I guess this is the end.
He's just an acquaintance. You're not really that friendly with him.
No, I'm always sad to see an Overlord go, but sometimes it's your time.
That is true. Sometimes it's your time to drone up very, very rapidly, like Solar is. Sometimes it's your time to get a forge, like Zest is.
Yeah. Sometimes it's your time to say sometimes it's your time until I call you all out. There's a lot of damage done to this Phoenix, which actually gives this harassment like a bit of a broken wing. It's not really going to be able to get as much damage done as he would like it to, and I think he may even lose this Phoenix here. Close call. He actually uses the new Phoenix unintentionally to tank the damage so the other one can get away. 14 drones on the way. Wow, he's droning up heavy.
Yeah, he does not care about what the Protoss is doing right now. He knows that he has a lot of time right here to just drone up as heavily as possible. Get this economy going on that 3 base. He just now is getting his lair up, as well as the Zergling speed.
I like this aggressive queen attack by Zest, or rather by Solar. Just getting out there trying to be aggressive, knowing that he can't really keep all of his queens at one base for defense. So he's just continuing to spread that creep out. There's something that's becoming more and more important with the playstyle that we're seeing from Zergs here in Pro League, which I personally feel will be the new meta and will transition into GSL Codes coming up very soon. I think that is what we're going to be seeing. A big Colossus here.
I think he saw that come out, actually. The Zerglings were really close. If he didn't see it come out, he might be like, well, I'm sure he was checking the damage to see if it was real or not. I don't think a guy like Solar would actually be faked out by that.
It was pretty sloppy. I don't know if it was seen. I can't actually vouch. It could have also been a mistake. He might have been trying to hallucinate a Phoenix at that moment. Then when the Zerglings came in, he panicked and accidentally hit a C instead of an X. That was a lot of creep tumors queued up there, but as soon as the Queen saw the Phoenixes, they decided that it was more important to come and defend the main base.
And I would agree with them. At the same time, Solar getting that Infestation Pit as well as the Spire, something we saw in just the last game.
Notice that Solar has tumors on the edge of his base, which is so helpful at chasing these units away on creep, and also gives him a little bit of an advanced warning on when the units are coming through. That's an important scout on that Spire. I do not believe his Phoenixes saw the Hive going up in the main base, on the other hand. A ton of Zerglings here. Fake Colossus again.
It seems like he was a bit scared that he did not want to get too close. Was backing off, so maybe he doesn't know quite just yet. He is taking his fourth over here all the way at the left.
The question that I have for Zest, though, is what advantage does he really garner from delaying his Colossus tech so much? He has double upgrades, something that we don't see very often in this matchup, and something that is debated as whether or not it's actually good or not, to have these upgrades instead of some other more important tech. and delay your immortals, for example. He doesn't have any immortals in his composition, which makes it very difficult to actually siege and attack and do a big push. And he's going into Templar Archives here, so it looks like he's actually basically decided that he wants to skip Colossus Tech altogether for now and go into Storm and go into heavy upgrades and Archons, of course, which are going to get those attack upgrades. And 10 of their hit points will get a small little armor upgrade as well. But I don't know how much I really like this decision to use High Templar instead so early, because it's a great defensive tool, absolutely, and it's great in the late game too, depending on the situation. But you also want to have Colossi. And without Colossi, you can never hit a timing, and you're going to let the Zerg players sit back and take control of the entire map. High Templar are not a unit that you can just, in this matchup, walk across the map and say, now I have Storm, I'm going to attack you. The same way that you can against Terran a little bit sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. We don't see any movements right now for him to take a 4th base. He's just getting these upgrades up. He's getting charged now as well as making those Archons. No Storm upgrade just yet. So he may just be going for that heavy charge Archon upgraded force and maybe go for an attack here.
No Swarm Host, interestingly enough, for Solar. He's just going straight to Ultras, like rushing them out.
Yeah, getting Adrenaline Glands as well for his Zerglings. Gonna have a really scary ground force in that Zergling Ultralisk kind of task force.
This could actually do a lot of damage. These Zerglings are not in position. They're going to take a long time to come back. He's going to kill this spawning pool and then therefore cancel the Adrenal Gland research, which is actually pretty good for him. And if he can get his Zealots into a good position, he can actually trade so well against these Zerglings with the +2 on the Zealots and the armor upgrade he has. He is going to be very happy with this trade.
Oh, and look at this at the same time. Coming over here to that left base, was able to pick up one of those Zerg Investors. Going to try to go aggressive here. The Charge Lot's charging onto these Queens. A good fungal goes down, but still some Zealots are coming in and more from the right.
What an interesting timing that we're seeing here. I don't know how much I really like this. Okay, the recall is solid. If he had really tried to commit to a fight there, that would have been a disaster. And he was able to keep that Mothership core alive very safely at the back until the last second. So that does make sense for him. He's able to identify long ago with a Phoenix Scout the transition to Ultralisk, so he gets the second robotics. He's going into double immortal production right now. Wants to have as many Archons as possible as well to buffer. Archons do bonus damage to bio units, which is every single unit you can have as a Zerg, but they do a lot to Ultralisk, especially the tanking-wise. Zealots and Archons at the front, then you have the Immortals in the back doing that really sick damage to armored units. That's what he wants ideally here, but Solar's not giving him a lot of time.
Yeah, he's not waiting. The Storm is only halfway done here. Missed fungal. You see a bunch of these High Templar. I'm not sure if he knows there's no Storm. A nice Time Warp goes down. A bunch of these Ultras right in the front.
Yeah, but they're up against that Archon wall I was talking about with the Mortals at the back. And this is not the place he wants to be. This is a mistake to attack here. With more Ultras and Queens coming back, I could see why he's considering it, why he wanted to force it in the first place. But now he's actually going to lose some of his Queens here, and the Ultralisk force that he had is actually diminished quite heavily. And now Storm's ready too. So committing there was definitely something I would have liked to see with those Queens there from the outset, or maybe even going with the flank and coming around from a different angle. But fighting straight up down that ramp was not a good idea. And this is a very strong Protoss army now that he has to contend with.
Yeah, Zest had his number. Like, he has the perfect composition to go up against exactly what Solar is throwing at him, and that's really benefiting him right now. We see Nidus network actually going down. We're gonna have that be pretty key in the later stages of the game. We have a 4th going up for Zest as well. Restarting the Adrenal Glands is Solar.
Yeah, restarting the Adrenal Glands. He knows that his best bet to do damage harassment-wise against this type of composition that's so aggressive on the map is Nidus with Adrenal Glands. That's what he's going to be going for here. This harassment over here likely to be shut down relatively easily, but if he focuses all of his eggs on one basket to defend 4 Zealots, which almost can enter a trade point there, then he's going to have no answer for the Zealots that are now being warped in the main base. I take it back. He does have a few Spine Crawlers here very smartly.
As well as one Ultra deep in guard. This guy is the captain of the main base. His tusks have seen many battles.
Oh, those Kaiser Blades, man. And this is so many Immortals, and Adrenal Glands is not ready yet. This is not a scary Zerg army if you have enough targeting on your Immortals, and we'll see though. He actually breaks through. Really nicely done with that Blinding Cloud. And you know what? There's just not enough Protoss here. The Ultras are going to continue to push through.
Yeah, not enough Protoss. There were so many Ultras, as well as a nice fungal onto all those, so they couldn't kite at all. It could not blink away. And there were just too many Ultralists, too little of the Protoss army.
The Blinding Cloud really eliminating how much damage those Immortals could do from the back. And if you win a fight like this, the Protoss cannot rebuild his Immortals fast enough to do this. Yeah, he can warp in a ton of Stalkers. He has that bank, and he has that production. But making the Immortals is just taking way too long for him. Zealot Warpins, I think, might be happening in the main base during all of this, but he's being met, of course, with those Spine Crawlers. And no, he's actually coming over here by ground to try to attack this base.
And this is a ton of Zealots over here. It's going to be rough because they are very heavily upgraded, which is really good against these Zerglings. But he's going to be able to deal with it. He has a Queen as well as a bunch of Spine Crawlers and an Ultralisk and a lot of these Zerglings. So he's going to be coming over here. He has a creep very well spread, so he can get over this base relatively quickly for this too much damage.
Yeah, those Zealots traded well against the Zerglings, but he needs more than that to get himself back into this. There's like one sad Phoenix being made. I don't even understand why. I think we saw like 3 Mutalisks being made during this as well by Solar. I think he made that by mistake. What this Nidus is for is basically just like a forward warping point, a forward pylon, like you would see a Protoss player use for faster reinforcement. This army that we see for Zest is so puny right now.
Yeah, you can even just look at the supplies. You see even the little bank being built up for Solar. This is going to be the last fight. The Zerglings coming in, even grabbing the Immortals. The Storms go down futile against this army right now. This blinding cloud on all of these units, and the Protoss is just being demolished now.
Yeah. GG. And that was a fist pump there we saw from Solar, who's now 3-0 against Protosses, taping out Protosses of all types with all different types of games. And that was a really unique way to play the matchup. Rushing out the Ultralists, not using that Swarmos meta, given the throat cut emote. And I'm impressed with Solar this season so far. Zest didn't play a bad game, but he continues his lackluster performance. That's like if somebody asked me to say one thing about how I felt Zest is, if he didn't play a bad game,
I was going to say basically the same exact sentence. He did not play, like a terrible player. He was definitely a very solid player, but it just wasn't amazing play. It wasn't anything different. And Solar, with a different play style that we've seen, I don't think we've seen a Zerg do that against a Protoss, at least in Pro League so far. And using it to great ability, even against a composition that should be able to counter